Hello, Fungabows here, and I'm going to do yet another movie review in the same night as I've done the previous two ones of The Dark Knight and The Spirit. This time I'm going to do a summer 2009 action blockbuster, Men Origins Wolverine, starring Hugh Jackman, Liev Schrieber and Ryan Renolds, and directed by Gavin Hood. Now first of all, before I get into the review of Men Origins Wolverine, I'm going to tell you what I thought of the previous three X-Men films. The first film I thought was fairly decent. It was a good script, it was well acted, it had great action, and particularly towards the end, I felt it was involving in the story. The second movie I thought was even better than the first one, and it really showed the characters a bit more, and particularly had a little hint of Wolverine's past. And Bryan Singer, of course, who directed the first two films, I thought he did a really good job. Before this movie came out, X-Men 2 was my favourite. X-Men 3 The Last Stand, it was good. It wasn't as good as the second one, but I liked it better than the first one. So, including this movie, my favourites are now Wolverine, 2, 3, and 1. Now anyway, so now X-Men Origins Wolverine, which the plot of which is basically this. The story focuses on the violent, somewhat past of Wolverine, one of the protagonist of this film obviously, and a future X-Man. And basically what happens is that him and his father is shot by, I think his stepfather, I don't know. Anyway, and then of course him and Sabretooth are brothers, as it turns out, and they're fighting in all sorts of wars, and then this guy called William Stryker, who is played by Danny Huston, who is portrayed by Brian Cox in X2, decides to let them show their true nature and how good they are and how special they are. Then, of course, Wolverine and Sabretooth are involved in some sort of assassination plot, I don't know, I think it is. And Wolverine obviously doesn't like it, then he walks away. And Sabretooth, Liev Schrieber, hunts down Wolverine, Hugh Jackman's girlfriend, and kills her. And then Wolverine basically just tries to get revenge throughout the rest of the movie. That's the basic plot. Now, I have to say, I thought that plot was decently thought out. I know I think admittedly the revenge type things, I've kind of seen them over and over again in films, but overall I loved this movie too much to even complain about that. Now the one thing that bugs me about this movie is the fact that literally no one gives it any credit. It seems that a lot of people focus on the likes of Slumdog Millionaire, which, although a lot of people like it, I respect that, I thought was a massive, and I mean massive, disappointment for me. I think this movie was fantastic. I loved it from beginning to end. The acting was perfect. Hugh Jackman, as always, does a great job as Wolverine. I really felt for his character, as I did with, at some points, I even felt more for Sabretooth, Liev Schrieber. And it's funny, because the only film I've seen him in previously was The Omen. I thought he was decent in that. And I loved him in this film. I thought he made a great partnership, brotherlyhood with Hugh Jackman. Danny Huston does a really excellent job as portraying William Stryker, and I found that he was kind of sadistic in some ways, kind of a bit devious and twisted, but that's William Stryker for you. Ryan Reynolds does a good job as Wade Wilson or Deadpool, and particularly towards the end I liked his character quite a bit. I liked the menacingness that was presented. And also the other actors do a fantastic job on their roles. Now, the main part of the movie, which is the action. Now, obviously, when you hear the word X-Men in it and Wolverine in the same title, you realise that there's going to be a lot of action sequences, and I mean there is a lot. The action was very, very well choreographed, and I think that the opening credits montage maybe was a little bit long, but otherwise I actually like the style they used. It's like a stylistic opening rather than just the same kind of mutation-like opening that we've seen in the previous three films. What else is there to say? And I think also the end of this movie, the climax, it was really, really well choreographed. And I found it quite funny at some points with Deadpool, Sabretooth and Wolverine. It was really involving, and I think it was one of the best action sequences I've seen in ages. Them all on top of the tower and everything, it was just fantastically done. Of course, is the whole movie, I think. The camera angles in this movie are actually very, very good. They keep steady pace, you know what's going on, and you can see if anyone dies, you can see if anyone lives, well, you know what I mean, you can see what's happening, basically. Whereas a movie like the first Transformers, even though I did like it, sometimes it's hard to tell what's going on, but I like them both. I like some way where you can't see what's going on and some might be scanned. But anyway, yeah, I think that this movie is the best of the X-Men series, and obviously it's the most interesting for me, and also because of the fact it's got such a great acting cast, great action sequences, directed by Gavin Hood, whose movies I have not seen other than this, and I was really impressed with his work. Because when I was going into it, I was extremely nervous about how it was going to turn out, because I've seen movies that are disappointing, and I was hoping, because the trailer didn't make it as good as it could have been, but that's why I loved it so much. The trailer wasn't as good as I think it could have been, and it was just a fantastic movie. It's my second favourite of 2009 so far, behind Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen, and I don't care what most people think about this movie. I love this movie. I loved it much better than Slumdog Millionaire. I liked it more than Star Trek. I just loved this movie a lot, And in fact, in the first week of release, or roughly, I saw it 3 times in 1 week. I know, sounds a lot, but I really love this movie. So my overall final rating, I am going to give it... Oh, by the way, also, before I give it a rating, the ending was really, really great. I think because apparently it's going to be an Men Origins Wolverine 2, which I'm so glad to hear, because I think there needs to be a sequel. I love the first one, and I'm hoping the second one might not be as good, but it could be enjoyable still. So I love the ending as well. And also, it was quite funny towards the end, when something happens, and obviously he finds his own way, but the way he says it, you know what I mean if you've seen the movie, because I don't want to spoil it. Anyway, my final rating is 4.5 stars out of 5. I think it was a much better movie than everyone else says it is, and I'd recommend you see it. If you like a really good action flick, then I think it's a movie for you. That's my opinion though, and I think it had a really great story, and I just loved it a lot. So until next time, you two, Michael Barrow is here, signing off.